Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be breaking down the GameStop stock situation in this video. Now, I'm going to try to explain this in the most simplistic, dumbed down version possible. It may even get confusing with this dumbed down version, but I'm going to hold your hand every step of the way, and I'm going to basically explain it to the best of my ability. And yeah, man, it is pretty crazy what's been going on, especially today, January 28th. There was a lot of corruption on this day, but the stock's already recovered, and it's just blowing my mind at what's been going on. Now, I also want to preface this by saying I'm not a financial advisor. Do not take financial advice from me or this video. Now, let's jump into it. So basically, GameStop is a retail stock, right? Just like the other ones. I know there's other ones that are being traded pretty heavily right now. AMC, Bed Bath & Beyond, Nokia. Those stocks are also being traded at a pretty high volume. However, I do want to focus on GameStop because that's, the whole topic of this video. But just keep in mind, you can apply the same principle to the other retailer stocks as well, right? So if you guys don't know, stocks are sold and bought from a trade-by-trade basis, so it's an auction type of system, a bid type of system, essentially. So, you're obviously going to want to get the best price for the share, but when you actually decide to buy a share, it could be pennies above, pennies below, and those pennies above or below, the actual price that you want to buy it at is dependent on the supply and demand of the stock. Now, different companies have certain volumes of shares, right? So there could be millions of shares, there could be thousands of shares. Essentially, the whole dynamic is around the supply and demand principle. So if so many people want to buy a particular stock and not enough people want to sell, the share or price of the stock increases, right? So using that principle, we're going to just apply it to the GameStop situation, and we're going to integrate hedging. Hedging is essentially used by hedge funds. They want to bet against the stock or they bet for the stock. They could bet for the stock to go up higher, or they could bet for the stock to go down lower. And in GameStop's situation, a bunch of Wall Street brokers, a bunch of hedge funds on Wall Street, they essentially bet against GameStop as well as some other retailers, but particularly GameStop because management was down. COVID obviously, restricted and just reduced the amount of transactions at GameStop since it's a retail store. And yeah, hedge funds, and they just basically everybody that, thought they knew what they knew about finance just bet against GameStop because it's, from a financial perspective, not doing great. So what happened was a Reddit user, a Reddit board called Wall Street Bets, blew up literally in the past 48 to 72 hours, going from 1 million people to almost 5.5 million people on this board, right? So here's the situation. In a day trader type of life, or when you're, buying and selling a stock, the whole idea and dynamic is called prisoner's dilemma. You can basically look into it if you want to, but long story short, the whole, analogy is if me and you get arrested for something that we did, maybe we, were fighting in a parking lot, or maybe we were, cooperating together to steal some money somewhere or whatever, right? The YouTube video might actually get flagged since I'm using this example, but regardless, if we get caught, we're, interrogated, we're separated, right? Me and you, we got arrested, we're separated in different rooms. The detective or police officers can basically say, look, if you, come clean now, you're going to get less prison time. And you don't know if your buddy or the person that you cooperated with that also got arrested is going to, basically, bail themselves out by saying, I'm coming clean and things like that. You don't know what's going to happen on the other side of that wall. You don't know if your buddy's going to stick with you or just come clean and then you're in trouble because you basically didn't come clean before he did, right? So that using that dynamic, it's basically applied to stocks as well. So I don't know when you're going to sell a stock. I don't know when you're going to hold a stock. But because of the Reddit board, having 5.5 million people, along with all of the news that's been surrounding this stock, everyone is literally buying the stock and holding on to it for two main reasons. Obviously, because they want the stock to go up. There's only so many stocks to go around, and if X amount of people buy stocks and shares for GameStop, there might not be a single stock left in the market, meaning more people want to buy it, meaning the share price skyrockets, okay? So, because of the Reddit board, Prisoner's Dilemma does not apply, because now I know there's at least 5.5 million people, or give or take, let's say 5 million. 5 million people are basically saying, I'm holding on to the stock and I'm not selling, I'm buying more. That's literally what 5 million people are saying on this Reddit board. So, in theory, it's inevitable that the amount of volume of shares that, GameStop is, or just GameStop has as a company, might actually go to zero in terms of availability, because there are so many people buying the stock. There's not enough people, selling it. And on top of that, Prisoner's Dilemma is basically relinquished because you have over 5 million people on a Reddit board, not to mention the other millions of people that aren't on this Reddit board that also have shares in GameStop and are just going with this mentality. Now, there's two outcomes to this entire situation, all right? Obviously, you're risking money by being in the stock market. That's just obvious, right? Well, the other situation and another, I guess, incentive that people are using in order to actually make as much money as possible and buy as many shares of GameStop as possible is because, remember when I mentioned that hedge funds bet against this stock and they said it was going to go down? Well, everybody is basically using the incentive that hedge fund managers and Wall Street in general has screwed people over time and time again, has caused one of the biggest financial crises in, '08 with the whole housing bubble. People want revenge. People want to get back at these Wall Street brokers, these hedge fund managers. And in theory, tomorrow, January 29th, if enough people can buy this stock, then this price most likely will skyrocket due to the supply and demand situation, because there's only so much volume to go around. And if so many people are buying multiple shares, it could be game over for a lot of hedge funds that did bet against GameStop. Now, I do want to also bring up the corruption part of this entire situation, and it's very complicated, but long story short, the reason GameStop was able to have as much volume in buys and sells over the past few days is because of everyday trading apps such as SoFi, Robinhood, E-Trade, Ameritrade. There are so many to count. I don't think I could even count them all on my two hands that I do have and all 10 fingers. I'm not missing a finger or anything like that. But basically, because of that, people are buying. You have less people selling than buying, but you have a lot of people buying through these apps. Well, today, January 28th, Robinhood halted all trading on GME, GameStop. They halted trading on, I believe, Nokia, AMC, and Bed Bath & Beyond, aka BB, which is the ticker there. So when you halt trade, then there are less stocks being bought, aka the share price did go down a decent amount, actually a very scary amount. It went basically nosedive today on January 28th because Robinhood halted trading. Now, Robinhood is one of the most well-known trading apps, and ironically enough, Robinhood, the actual tale of him is that he stole from the rich and gave to the poor, but the outcome in this situation was the complete opposite. People were losing money because they could not sell or buy more shares on Robinhood. And just a little other thing that I do want to mention, Robinhood is essentially owned / partnered from Citadel. Citadel is a hedge fund Wall Street corporation, and Citadel actually has a lot of money betting against GameStop. As a matter of fact, they doubled down on all of their bets that GameStop is going to continue to go down. And due to that correlation of Robinhood and Citadel, a lot of people just destroyed Robinhood today. They were giving it 1-star ratings. People were pulling out, closing their accounts, moving to another trading app like SoFi or I believe Ameritrade. And those are the two, I guess, well-known apps. And I believe Webull is also one at this time that is going to be selling GameStop. But basically, because of this, there are now class action lawsuits against Robinhood because people were prevented, millions of people were prevented of trading, buying, selling, etc., the GameStop stock. So, all in all, it was very corruptive today. But the stock at this time that I'm making this video has already recovered. It's back almost to, I believe, like 320. I actually should probably check because don't want to get this wrong at this point in the video. So the stock went from, at one point it was 126 today, and it's back up to $311, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying it's increasing. And tomorrow, since a lot of people know which trading apps are going to allow GameStop to be traded, it's going to be a very, very high volume trading day. The government can't get involved with this because this is quite literally free market. If the government does get involved, then it isn't free market anymore, is it? So it's going to be a pretty interesting day tomorrow, but I wanted to kind of break down this situation. Essentially, supply and demand, prisoner's dilemma, everything is in favor of GameStop right now because of this Reddit board basically projecting the demand for this stock in a whole other stratosphere. And quite honestly, in my humble opinion, if enough people get on these trading apps tomorrow, it is going to be a done deal for the hedge funds, and it's going to be a lot of money in a lot of everyday people's pockets. So I hope you all did enjoy this video. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel, comment down below your thoughts about this entire situation. I'm so excited to see what happens tomorrow. I'm a little stressed, but you know, at the end of the day, it is going to be interesting how a lot of these hedge funds react and how everyday people react, because it's going to be a wild ride. So I'm Cryptix. Not going to tell you if I have shares in GameStop or not, because you shouldn't be taking financial advice from me. And signing off.